Okay, so we'll move in now to just playing around a little bit more with layers and ideas about color, changing colors, contrast, opacity, things like that. And so I went ahead and have loaded in some other images. One of them's a video, and the other ones are just still images. And I'll just pick one out. So let's say I wanted to make it look like my these guys are jumping across like the ship canal out there, right, in Fremont. So I have this image that I, just took with my smartphone or whatever. You guys could do the same thing. And, if you look at it, you'll see that the image is far too big to fit into the thing because it's at a high resolution, right? So as long as I have this selected and I grab the arrow tool, I can click and drag and resize it. If I hold down the shift key, it'll keep it from distorting it, right? And I can adjust this thing. I don't know. Maybe that looks good. Remember, this is just my demo. Your project should look super awesome, right? But I am just kind of fooling around with this for now, right? And so, yeah, so let's say, okay, there you go. That's what I wanted it to look like. But, you think it's a little bit too bright. It kind of gets in the way. I wish there was some way I could fade it out a little bit more. Well, you could click the twirl down on the image, and just like anything else we place in the timeline, we can keyframe things and adjust them. So if I just want the opacity on that to look a little less, make it a little darker, I could do that, right? So then it kind of like fades it out. If my background was white and I faded it, it would look much more kind of like almost foggy or something. So that's really up to you. I can keyframe the opacity there if I want to. There's lots of things that you can do. There are also effects. So we haven't really talked about effects yet, but if you click on the effect menu up here, and there's also usually, depending on how you have your workspace set up, there are lots of different effects in different palettes. But the easiest thing, if you're lost, is just grab it up here. And let's just go to one of these, and we'll go to color correction. And so if you go to that, you could do something like, if I click on the black and white, it's now turned what was my color image into a black and white image, right? And you can adjust all of that. So you can tint it or not tint it. So if you want it a little cooler, you can make the tint a cooler color. There's lots of different things that you can do. And anytime that you want to see, well, what did it look like without that on there, you can click on that, and it'll just, this little FX means effect, right? You can twirl them up and down if you want. So if you're like, I don't know if I like that one, let's try another one. Go up here to go to effects and go to color correction again, and let's do something like let's do color balance, right? Okay, so now I can go crazy and keyframe all of this stuff. So if you want it to look like an old photo that's been washed out from age, you could mess with that if you want to, right? You can keyframe all that, so go crazy if you want to. These little sliders give you just a more visual way than just clicking and dragging on that. So, there you go. You can do that. You can combine them together. So if you want to do black and white and color balance, it changes things if you stack them in different ways. So, and you can keyframe them in different ways as well. So there are just no end to the effects that you can add here. Some of the other ones that you might want to play around with, like keying, is how you would do like a green screen. Probably won't play around with that too much. There's lots of different things you can add, dust and scratches. You can add median grain, all that kind of thing. But another spot to maybe look at would be, what if I want to add in some video footage? So I just brought in something really fast just to show you what that looks like. I'll make it bigger here so it fills up the space. And so this is video footage that goes behind my behind the it goes behind the thing we just made here with the football guys. And so it's a pretty long video, so I could just move it down the timeline, right? I could edit it a little bit. But if I wanted these guys to look like they're interacting with video footage, I could actually do that. So, and you can hear there's sound that goes along with that video footage. So I can apply any of these effects to video footage. So there's a billion things you can do. You can go in here and go to, again, if I want to make it look like it's got some kind of dust and scratches on it from, being really old, like old thing, I can add that, and you kind of get these different effects. So, and it's going to slow down, and you'll see down here the green is like what's rendered. and and as soon as we get past the green, it's going to lag. So this isn't real time at all. It's not going to show us what it really looks like. It'll only show you what the green bar looks like in real time. So those are just, yeah, I mean, again, if you don't like an effect, you can just turn it off, or you can delete it. Just click on it and delete, and you can get rid of it. Same thing goes up here. If you don't like those, just delete them out of there. They only work if the FX part is turned on. So that is basically how you kind of layer in more objects and change opacity, contrast, anything like that you want to. So you can go for it with your particular animation and see what kind of things come along. So